This lesson addresses the thesis statement part of the 5-paragraph essay unit. So by the time we complete this lesson, we should be able to write a thesis statement using the thesis formula. There's some important vocabulary for this unit, including thesis, thesis formula, pre-write, pre-writing, graphic outline, and essay. The two most important of these vocabulary words is thesis and thesis formula. The thesis is the governing statement that we use as sort of the umbrella that covers the whole essay. The thesis formula is a little formula, kind of like a math formula, that we use to help us write a thesis statement. So, and it won't change, it'll always be the same. When we're writing an essay, we always want to think about our audience, and so as we're composing our thesis statement right from the start, we're going to be thinking about who our audience is, what the purpose is of what we're writing, and so we can properly address those individuals. And so right from the start, this is where we're going to go. The thesis formula is as follows: main idea plus opinion / attitude / verb phrase plus 3 points, and that's what equals our thesis. So if we look at the example thesis, we can then kind of pull it apart and see how it's put together. The example thesis says, 3 qualities a hero must possess are intelligence, kindness, and patience. And if we look at the main idea in blue is the qualities of a hero. We look at the opinion or attitude. A hero must have the listed qualities to be considered a hero. And then thirdly, the 3 points are the 3 qualities that heroes have according to this author. So those are the pieces of the formula. That is an example essay an essay thesis statement that's been broken down. So let's further look at the formula. When we see the formula, it's broken out into specific colors as well. Main idea is blue, opinion, attitude, and verb phrase are green, and then our 3 points are in red. This will help us organize our ideas, categorize what our vocabulary is as we determine any keywords that we're going to use. It'll help us organize things by color. So, we want to make sure that when we're looking at applying the formula, we always use it this way. It should always be main idea, opinion, attitude, verb phrase, and 3 points. So let's look at the steps for applying the formula. Step 1 is to read the prompt. That's all you're going to do. You're actually just going to take some time to read the prompt and see what the prompt is expecting you to do. So it says, heroes are a valuable part of our world and everyone's daily life. Identify qualities or traits heroes possess and provide examples of these qualities. Explain why the qualities are important. And so that is all we need to do for the first step. We actually just need to take some time, read the prompt. This is probably where we're going to start kicking in and maybe developing some ideas about what we'd want to write about, especially if we're one of those writers who gets right to town and starts generating a lot of ideas. But we want to take some time to be careful and also make sure we analyze the prompt. So looking at step 2, the next step is going to be to analyze the prompt, which means that we're going to take the prompt apart, break it apart, see which parts are going to be useful for us as we start writing our essay. So one of the ways that we can break the prompt apart is to look for keywords. Identifying keywords is going to be really important because then we'll see how those words might fit into the formula and help narrow what we need to do when it comes to thinking and writing. So the other thing that we're going to look at is we're going to look at what the prompt is asking us to do, because it's very important that as we're composing our essay, we actually address everything that we're being asked to do. So identifying keywords, thinking about how those keywords fit into the formula, and figuring out what the prompt is asking us to do is step 2 when we analyze the prompt. So if we look at the example below, the example prompt below, some of the keywords have been identified based on how they'd fit into the formula. And now comes the tough part. We need to think and write. but we've already done some preparation, so it's not as tough as it usually is. So step 3, we think and write. We build background knowledge if that is a possibility, but we're actually going to write the thesis statement at this point. So we use the formula, main idea plus opinion / attitude / verb phrase plus 3 points. And this is where we would plug in our keywords. And if you notice from the step before, we would plug in a word like heroes, as it was identified in blue and it's addressing the main idea. We would plug in words like identifies, traits, or qualities. If you notice from the example before, the slide before, those were words that were identified in green. And then our 3 points would be identified in red. And we know those are 3 traits we're going to address. So there we go.